Good morning and thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. My name is Alex Matthew and with me is Smriti Chaudhary. Morning, Smriti.
Good morning, Alex. We're seeing a little bit of weakness in the markets today, no?
Well, it's been a considerable recovery from the low point of the day, and in fact a little bit of a breather. So let's take a look at where markets stand right now. So you have the benchmark indices that are trading with gains of about 0.2% or thereabouts. So it's quite a bit of chop and churn. In fact, the broader markets, let's see where they are as well. And you have the mid-cap index that's up about 0.5% or so. And you have the small-cap index that's up about 0.33% or thereabouts. In terms of the key indices movers, you have the bank nifty that is continuing to stay in the red. In fact, the Nifty Bank down about 0.2% and off the low point of the day. But you also have the auto index that's seeing a little bit of weakness, down about 0.1% or so. Realty continues to lose ground. In fact, it's the biggest underperformer in trade today, down about 1% or so. That's selling carrying over from yesterday's session. Of course, prior to today, you've seen 5 days of cuts in a row and considerable selling by foreign institutions as well. A little bit of a pullback for some of the counters that have seen heavy selling. We'll get into that in just a bit. In fact, to talk about this in more detail, we've got Saurabh Jain of SMC Global and Swati Hotkar of Nirmal Bang. Thank you so much to the both of you for joining in and welcome to the show.
Let's get in our guests and get his view as well. We have Saurabh Jain. Saurabh, on Axis Bank, looking at the results, looks quite decent, but markets are reacting very sharply to this. Could you tell us a little bit more about why that is happening?
Hi, good morning. I think there is a lot of pessimism in the markets. You know, we are seeing mixed set of numbers coming from all the sectors. For example, IT, banking. The way the HDFC disappointed, I think that is coming to the investors' mind. Slight disappointment is leading to a huge fall. I think some kind of a sanity should revert back in the market. I think it is the opportunity for the long-term investor to chip in because they are actually getting Axis Bank at a 5%, 6% discount. I mean, from the this kind of a selling is actually a good opportunity for the long-term investors. Overall, the numbers were cool. They were good, and I think the positive surprises may are on the anvil because of the credit disbursement which usually happen in the March quarter. I think March quarter numbers will be much better.
All right, let's jump into the questions now. The first one is from Vaibhav Kohli. He's writing to us on YouTube. He's talking about IRFC. It's touched a 52-week high today, and he wants to know if he should wait before buying this stock. Do you see value in this stock, Saurabh? And I'll take a short-term view on this as well.
I don't find merit in buying IRFC considering the valuation at which it is trading. I mean, it is a good company, growing at a good growth at a good pace, but at the same time, at the price which you are paying is I think on the valuation side, it is too pricey. So in my sense, I think it is better to avoid.
I'm asking this, Saurabh, with the hope that you have a view on this. Mohit from Ludhiana has got 2,000 shares of Trident Limited, which he bought at levels of 3.9. The stock is currently trading at 43.5. So he's making a considerable amount of money on this one. He's got an outlook for the next 2 years. This is one of those stocks, Saurabh, that has gained quite substantially. I'm looking at the longer term chart and I see that over the last 1 year or so, it has gained about 30-odd%, right? So do you have specific coverage? If so, what should he do? Should he keep this money invested or should he take some money off the table?
And the fortunes seems to be changing for the textile industry, and markets are pricing in that exactly. The stock has already witnessed strong re-rating. I think if you have a 2 years kind of view, then you can surely hold this company. I mean, this stock. I think the numbers will improve going forward. But since you are making so much gains, I think a lot of rally has already been there in a short span. So it is better to take some money off the table and be long with the rest.
Understood.
Talking about Nuvama Wealth, this one's from Amit, and he wants a longer term view on this, and he wants to know the buying levels. Saurabh, could you give us buying levels on this one? It's on a downtick today, down about 0.5% at this juncture.
Won't be able to give buying levels. I think it is better to seek technical view.
Overall, fundamentally, how do you see the stock going? I'm saying this because it's a recent listing, not a lot of data on the technical front there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in coverage. I think it is better to wait for a quarter or two, how the earnings will plan out and how what the management is guiding. So then only I think we can make view. So as of now, it is not in coverage.
So then let me ask you this, Saurabh. On the fundamentals, those plays that are related to the capital markets, and we've seen quite a few of them run up very substantially, not least of which you've seen the BSE itself that has gone up from strength to strength. You have the likes of Angel One, you have a few other stocks as well. CAMS, I guess, is another play. What, according to you, is the best way to play this capital market theme?
I think this is the place where, a lot of turnover is happening, a lot of growth is happening, but at the same time, the competition is also coming up, which is leading to contraction in the margins. If you look at the Angel numbers, we saw the contraction in the operating profit margin, and the management is saying that they'll be able to overcome those. But I don't think so, and I think this is the space which is overly high. If you look at the valuation, say, of the BSE Angel, they are on the higher side. I mean, we haven't seen such kind of valuations in a long span. So I think if you are betting on this space, I think you should have a very long view. I'd say 3 to 5 years, and and the market corrections are looking in 2024. It looks that market will see a good amount of correction, considering the fact that we have seen long run up in the small and mid cap stock. And if that happens, I think we may see derating in the valuation of these companies.
Okay, fair point. I'm coming back to you, and again, I'm hopeful that you have a view on this one, because it is a question that is being asked about an InvIT. This is Power Grid Infrastructure Trust. And the question is coming from Sunil Taneja. He says that he's a pensioner and he's bought at levels of 121. He's invested 4 lakh rupees. I guess with the expectation of receiving regular income, because that I would assume is a theme that you play with regard to REITs as well as InvITs, right? Fractional ownership. So do you have a view, Saurabh, on this one?
I think largely, usually people buy these InvITs with a view of fixed income type gains, and there is also some tax incentives in these types of incomes. So largely, it is a good company. I mean, the parentage is Power Grid only, and this InvIT is good enough. I mean, there is no problem with this InvIT, and the income is likely to grow. And if the asset prices do go up, then we may see the market price of the InvIT going up. So I think he can remain invested.
So a quick clarification here, Saurabh. If you're not getting that capital appreciation, it's not something to be too worried about or bothered by, right? Because you're ultimately looking for the regular income.
Yeah, I mean, the capital appreciation is actually icing on the cake.
Sure.
All right.
I want to get a quick view on SBI from Saurabh as well. A lot has been said about the banking pack. In fact, you saw significant selling in the counter yesterday. Not really any specific trigger on SBI, but I think the entire banking pack was being sold into. So if I look at the 1-year chart, it's not gone anywhere. And so therefore, from that perspective, based on the expectation of the growth that you're seeing in the lending book and the prospects for FY25 as well as you look forward, would you buy this counter right now?
I don't think so. If you look at the SBI, it is clearly underperformed both Nifty, Bank Nifty, and PSU Bank Index also. I think the market is of the opinion that the numbers will be muted this time. I think it is better to wait for the December quarterly numbers and then make our opinion. In the PSU baskets, the stocks which we like are Union Bank and the Cantor.
Fair point. All right. So aggressive view based on the technicals, but hold your horses based on the fundamentals is what Saurabh is saying on SBI. We'll see soon enough, though. The numbers are not too far away. Let's talk about a scheme by the government or a program by the government that will likely lead to a lot of beneficiaries on the corporate side, on the manufacturing side, and on the design side. I'm talking about the Kavach program of the government, right? There was, of course, an unfortunate incident last year that led to the government pushing the Kavach program. Geeta is wondering which stocks stand to benefit, and I think we've had a little time to understand this scheme and what it entails. Saurabh, any view about stocks that will stand to benefit from this program?
Didn't really seen this scheme.
Okay, so then let me broaden this. The Kavach scheme, of course, is aimed at the safety of the railways, right? And to prevent accidents and to ensure that things go in order. So let me broaden this then. Beyond the Kavach scheme, talking about railways, you saw some of those stocks take a bit of a beating yesterday. But remember, a lot of these stocks have gained very substantially over the last year or so. Which, according to you, Saurabh, is the one to bet on?
I think when these types of schemes are on the anvil, I think markets always tries to capture in that prices, and we have already seen that. I think when the it's like when the metro is announced, property prices goes up, and when the metro comes, property price actually don't go up and may even come off. It's like in the stock market also. So I don't think so. I don't feel so. There is any kind of a juice left in those spaces.
All right. Let's shift focus to Avas Financiers. This one's from Sid, and he wants a longer-term view on this. Now, in the last 1 year, the stock has lost 18%. For the longer term, Saurabh, how does it look, Avas Financiers?
I think on the finance, on the NBFCs, I think there will be a pressure on the net interest margin, and this is a very small company, and I think the valuations are on the higher side. It is better to look how the numbers pan out for the December quarter and what the management guides. Then only I think it is better to decide. Otherwise, there is a lot of competition coming in this space. So my sense, it is better to avoid as of now.
Avoid is a call on Avas Financiers.
Before we continue the show, I'd like to remind you that you can write to us on any of our social media channels or on the WhatsApp number that's flashing on your screen or will flash on your screen in a couple of minutes. Or you can write to us on the YouTube live chat as well. Now, let's talk about Divi's Labs. This one's from Babu. And they say they bought the stock 25 years ago and they've been holding on to it since then. So now the purchase price is now negligible at this point. He wants to know the longer term view on this. Saurabh, now we've seen a little bit of weakness in Divi's Labs, but for a longer term, would you suggest holding on to this one?
I think a lot of activity is happening in the pharma space. I think we saw Cipla numbers and the other companies coming up with the numbers. I think Davies is a company which can do well for the long term since he's invested for the last 25 years. In my opinion, I think he should stay invested because the competition in the American market is also going down. I think there is a deficit, there is a scarcity of some kind of medicines also. The company is in the APIs, intermediaries, and generics, and I think it is likely to do well. So my sense is that it is better to stay invested.
Right, fair enough. All right, that's a view on Divi's. And by the way, in case you're wondering, the buy price was likely in the single digits. If it is the maximum time frame, which is around the early 2000s, it is around 9 rupees or thereabouts that Babu probably acquired it at. Okay, so Senthil's asking this next question, and look, I think it's important to address this as well. He's asking about penny stocks. Sort of, a few of these names have done incredibly well, and I guess to a certain extent that is driving the appetite for them, but it's a dangerous game to play, right? Suzlon, for example, made a tremendous recovery, and if you think about it, Vodafone Idea has also made a tremendous recovery from the low point, right? But can you very quickly in 30 seconds explain why it's not necessarily a winning game?
I think it is largely the gains in the penny stocks comes when there is a gush of liquidity chasing markets. A lot of money is coming to the riskier assets, and there is a huge volatility in small companies' business profiles. For example, as you said, Suzlon. I think Suzlon, there is some kind of a change in the operation metrics. I think company is improving its financials. The debt got restructured. The business prospects are improving, and that is why we saw the stock re-rated. But on the other side, Vodafone Idea, I don't think so. Fortune can ever change for this company. The balance sheet is too heavy, the debt is too high, and the company is making less money and the ARPU is losing its customers. So I think it is a very difficult game to play. It only looks rosy at the screen, but when you jump into, you can lose all your.
Yeah, fair point. Because while the gains might be substantial, just a 20% or a 30% drop would mean that a lot of your gains are wiped out, right?
We have a question on IDFC First Bank by V. Srinavaslu. I hope I'm saying that correctly. They bought the stock at 87, which is higher than the current price. Saurabh, would you suggest holding on to this one?
I think if you are there for the long term, it's a hold. Otherwise, there is a good amount of correction can come in the stocks because the stock has already got re-rated in the last 1 year. So you have to stay put for long term.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Saurabh, for that view and indeed for answering all the questions that you did. Swati as well, thank you for joining us on this program. Viewers, if we weren't able to answer your specific question at the very least, hopefully the answers that were given to the other questions have benefited you in some way. A few of you, I've promised that I will take your question tomorrow. Remember, we're back tomorrow at 11:30 and we'll take all of your questions live. That's the end of this particular program from Smriti and myself and the team that put the show together. Thank you so much for watching. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up on NDTV Profit.